It's Tuesday evening. We're here. We're live all over the place on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Twitch. Good evening. You're listening to the Masked Comedian Xcast. And you're probably watching it too if you're watching it, because we don't actually do a podcast. Big Ace is there. Good evening, Big Ace. How you doing, buddy?
What's up?
Well, I'm just waiting for the snow here.
Has it not started to snow yet?
I don't know. I'm in a basement and I can't see out the window.
Oh, it's been snowing for like 45 minutes here.
So we're talking about, I believe you're in the same range as I am, 6 to 12 inches, which may come this evening through the overnight hours up until about noon tomorrow. So if you're not in our viewing area, enjoy your dry and happy weather. If you are where we are, get your shovel out. I know they've closed all the schools already. So
did they? I don't know if they've done that down here. I haven't paid too much attention.
Yeah, it's like, we might as well just close them now.
The joys of Minnesota.
Yet I'm still going to get up early and go to the de-icing office tomorrow morning. Got to be there at 8 o'clock. So that means I'll have to get up at about 4 o'clock and start shoveling my way out of my driveway.
So is this full-time or part-time?
So it's going to be sort of semi-part-time, full-time shifts, but I only have to do 3 shifts a week. So that's my minimum, 3 a week. And we'll see how it goes, because it seems like it's not a bad thing. And the pay is fair. And, anyway. Oh, my gosh. So, wrestling, baby.
Yeah, it was a really busy weekend. We talked about it on the last episode, but, it was going into the Survivor Series weekend. Lots of shows and lots of Chicago. I like how they do these weekends for the Big Four now. As we have TLC coming in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's a one night thing. It's just a one night off pay-per-view, whatever. It's just their monthly pay-per-view. But for the Big Four, the series, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Mania, it's a weekend event. They do all their shows that week there.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how they've done that, and how they're kind of growing these other 3 to be more, just a legacy of them. Because that's growing up, I remember that it was just the 4.
Oh yeah,
it was like every 2-3 months we got a pay-per-view. So you were so jacked up when they came on.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like overboard. Now it's just like, all right, you guys. Thank God they're doing 1. They're not doing 2 a month, because every brand needs their own pay-per-view. But anyways, that's a whole other topic. But yeah,
it sure is.
Survivor Series was in Chicago. It started on Smackdown. They go home before the actual weekend. Bunch of the same invasion stuff. Whatever. I didn't really watch it. It just seemed, I think I watched a couple parts, and it was just the same stuff that had been kind of going on.
Yeah.
So we'll just kind of skip over that. Let's get into War Games, because War Games is, so did you watch it? I know you said you didn't see it live, but
I didn't see it live. I got to look at some of the review shows. From everything that I saw, it was a fantastic show, and Takeover War Games clearly outdid Survivor Series from everything that I had heard.
Yeah, definitely did. We can run down the card quick. Matt Riddle versus Finn Balor.
I heard that was out of the matches. I heard that was it was a good match, but a little bit of a letdown in comparison.
Yeah, but they're also, they're opening the show, so you can't, I'm not going to expect them to go crazy on that match. Finn Balor gets the win. It was a good match, though. I did enjoy it.
All right. And then who's next? Was it the female battle royal or female War Games?
Let's see here. Well, then we had Yeah, the female match with so many people in War Games. It's just so many names. And I didn't see the pre-show, but Mia Yim was attacked.
Yes.
By Dakota Kai. Or no, sorry, not by. She was replaced by Dakota Kai.
Because she got attacked by somebody.
Yeah, which is by Dakota Kai probably.
Yeah.
You see what happens in 4 games. So you got Rhea Ripley, now Dakota Kai, Tegan Nox, Candice LeRae versus Shayna Baszler, Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, and Kaylee Ray. Surprised that the 2 other horsewomen didn't get involved or even come down during this.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, isn't it?
I thought it was a little bit. It was a really good match, though. All the ladies did a great job. And to be honest, and we'll do our pops and drops later, but obviously a big moment in this match was when Dakota Kai finally got to come out and then just killed Tegan Nox.
Yep.
Who, and if you're not really that familiar with, Tegan Nox has had 2 moments in WWE where it was like her time to shine in NXT, and both times sidelining injuries. Like just like freak injury. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That puts her out for months to a year at a time. So it's good to see that she's finally back on TV getting that chance. And it's great to see Dakota Kai with a heel turn on her best friend, Team Kick. And this is going to set up to what could be a really great program between the 2.
Nice.
But that also takes those 2 women out of the match. So it ends up basically being Rhea Ripley and Candice LeRae versus like 3 of them, and or 4 of them. They take them out. They end up winning from a 2-4, odds. And really good match. Rhea Ripley got put over so hard this week.
Both nights.
So hard this week. Like, they love her.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we had there's a triple threat number 1 contenders: Killian Dane, Pete Dunne, Damian Priest. Pete Dunne with the win. A really good match again. Man, I like that Pete Dunne though. Everything he does a really good job.
Yep.
And then the War Games match, Undisputed Era against Tommaso Ciampa, Donovan Dijak. Is that how they say it? Dijak?
Djokovic. Something like that.
Yeah, whatever. Keith Lee and surprise 4th team member who did not come out right away, came out very last, and it was Kevin Owens.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Got probably the biggest pop of the weekend.
Oh, yeah. Easily. And then now, gosh, here's the thing. I might have watched it, or I might have tried to watch it when I came home on Saturday night, but I didn't get home till 3:00, so I kind of was half maybe snoozing during it. But I think the more I remember it, I do not recall the pop when Owens came out. It came out because I'm sure it woke me up. But I don't remember how the match ended. But then I did see how the match ended later on.
Yeah, probably one of the most brutal
bumps. Let's just see if I can't bring it up, and we'll see how this works. We'll just take a big chance here and see if we can't pop that in there.
Yeah, just brutal.
Yeah, and the reality is, how did they do that without killing each other?
A lot of trust between those 2 on that top.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then that little structure thingy with the chains going to the top was like moving on him.
Oh yeah.
So making it even harder. But that was a crazy spot. It was a great way to end that match. It was a really good match. War Games always is a great pay-per-view for NXT. And this one didn't let down at all either. Probably better than the Survivor Series show. And for me, had the moment of the whole weekend.
Oh, absolutely.
Pop when we get to that. So
absolutely. All right. And so we then move on to Sunday night in the Survivor Series. And to be honest, overall, I was pretty happy with it. As a standalone show, it was good. In terms of advancing NXT, it was a little predictable, and let's just put it this way, that none of it would have happened had it not been for AEW. They would never have put an NXT over that hard if AEW was not competing with them on Wednesday.
Yeah, very true.
But having said that, the people that they pushed from NXT, it was fantastic. The War Games or the Survivor Series matches in and of themselves were great. Again, Rhea Ripley got pushed to the moon, which is great because she's a different kind of wrestler. She doesn't match with anybody that's on the main roster. Now, here's the thing that I'll just say real quick, like, if they want, I mean, I don't know how they're going to do this because they've got these people now and they're pushing them and they're trying to make them stars. Well, what are they going to do? Are they just going to leave them on NXT? I mean,
now, because like
in the short term, yes,
they're doing this to get better ratings,
right?
And they had to run off of what happened last week because they did beat AEW in the ratings, which is
it's significant. But here's the thing.
But it's also a circumstantial show. It's not just a
absolutely
NXT episode. So it's kind of like, let's see how it goes this week, and then it's just. Well, and the other thing too, they still lost the 18 to 34-year-old demographic, though.
Yeah,
they win that. So it's they have more people, but still not.
That was one of the things that they said was that the demographic that they won that put them over in terms of winning was 50 plus, which is amazing to me because. I mean, I guess they got excited about Becky and Triple H pumping up the fact that it was an open door policy and anything could happen. But regardless, I still think it's a good idea. They've got to do what they're going to do. So that's all good.
Yeah. And the other thing too is, to me, watching it, NXT is not doing anything that different though than what they've always done,
right?
Like if they were doing like different stuff to try, then it'd be like, oh, they're really hamming this, like, but like it's just more eyes are seeing what they've always been doing,
right?
So yeah, it's cool. I like it. I mean, but that's just that, like the people who take this Wednesday Night War stuff into like Series account and you can only like the ones, like, no, you can't.
You can like them both.
The other thing too is I don't think many of those matches on the actual Survivor Series show that NXT came out ahead were like legit clean wins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they weren't like, maybe one of them, maybe if I remember correctly, but I don't even, it is what it is. But yeah, I enjoyed Survivor Series. I didn't watch the pre-show. I just have not watched pre-shows lately.
Yeah.
Then it's too long. I don't want to sit there for 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I don't need a full evening of wrestling. I can't do that. And the fact is that a lot of those matches could be shorter and they can tell the same story in a shorter amount of time. But again, it goes to how many eyes they can have watching for how long. Right. And I get why they do it, but I don't have to participate.
Yeah. And it's funny, though, because one of the better matches on Survivor Series was Pete Dunne and Adam Cole.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. That was a great match.
Which is amazing after that spot you saw the night before with Adam Cole, because you would have thought he would have died doing that. Which also funny to note. Well, after we get through the Survivor Series, I'll bring that up. But yeah, it was a really good match. AJ Styles, Shinsuke, Roderick Strong.
Fantastic match.
Yeah, like that Roderick Strong won that.
the Charlotte and Asuka match, uh, those two are good. They're probably, I don't know. Asuka is one of the better wrestlers. Charlotte is probably the best wrestler in women's, if not everybody, or close. But it was just sort of boring, don't you think?
What match?
The Asuka and Charlotte. I mean, it was okay.
Oh, are you talking Raw?
Was that last night?
Yeah. Because
Sorry.
they were on the same team at Survivor Series.
Oh, that's right. She green misted her, and then
There. And then,
this is no, my poor brain.
yeah. I mean, yeah, Raw was boring, or the match was. It wasn't boring on Raw. It was just there was something missing to that match.
Yeah,
it wasn't, but but the women's match was good though. I enjoyed it.
I thought the women's match was great.
Yeah,
I liked the way that it turned out. Although the thing at the beginning with the two NXT women getting hurt and going out, and then coming back, it's like, well, really?
Yeah, I feel like there was no rhyme or reason to that. Like when you would pull that spot off back in the day, which even up to a couple of years ago, the point is usually when you have like a girl from Raw and SmackDown be like deliberately like take them out, and then they get carried out. Like Bragging Rights 2010 was in the Target Center in Minneapolis. Similar concept because it's brand versus brand. Alberto Del Rio was new at the time, and this is when they were trying to get him to build a feud with Rey Mysterio. They were on the same team. Rey tags him in. He goes in, gets halfway to his opponent, turns around, and then just knocks Rey off, gets out, throws him into the wall, and walks out. Not saying that's how it would have went, but like someone should have did that to these two girls, that they had to carry them out, and then it's like a Bret Hart situation. Oh, they got hurt. Well, they never lost. Are they out? Who knows?
Yeah.
And they come back. But the fact that they just got hurt on a freak accident, they leave. Because when you make that comeback in the match to get the pop, you have to have that sympathy comeback.
Well, and here's the thing.
Not just they're back.
But here's the thing. Ultimately, they could have done that without him.
Yeah.
And it did nobody any good.
No, it
I
was
didn't think.
Another spot in a match. It was just something for them to. I don't know if we're trying to play on. NXT had a show last night, so they're already beaten up, and it was easy. I don't know. It was just like you said, it was just a spot that didn't need to happen.
Yeah. I mean, they want to take them out and send them back. That's fine. You put the odds against NXT, and now it makes what they're doing even bigger. But it was unnecessary to me.
Yeah.
The Brock and Ray match, I loved, just because I kind of figured it was going to happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the little nod to throwing the towel in. So they are throwing shots at each other, which is cool. But I mean,
there's another story right now between the two that we can talk about after this. It's starting to you're starting to see that they're acknowledging each other subtly, and then there's little shots getting fired now between the two, and it is what it is. It was going to happen eventually.
Oh yeah,
it just doesn't take over the products like it did between WWE and WCW.
Well, you know what? If it does, there's a certain element of fans that are going to love that.
Yeah, but to me, it's just going to the well too many times. You know what I mean?
It's third grade is what it is.
Huh?
To me, it's third grade picking on.
Yeah,
it's unnecessary.
Yeah, the match. Yeah, I expected that match to be that quick. I was.
Oh yeah.
I like that Dominic was involved. I don't know what they're waiting for on him.
Well, here's what I think. This is my opinion. So now, and if we fast forward to Raw when Ray picks up the U.S. title, I think that ultimately Dominic's going to turn on his old man, and they'll figure out how to do that, and wouldn't it be cool if it was Heyman that planted the seed with him and said, "Hey, see, your dad, he's only out for himself. He's not out for you." I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I like it. I don't know though. That seems like a long program. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
feel like the whole thing is he was like, you can't retire until you and I can be a tag team.
Well, maybe
tag for a while before anything happened.
But maybe it boils down to, see, your dad was never going to tag with you.
Yeah,
all he wanted was his own personal glory.
I've also heard too, though, that they're waiting until the Rumble to do anything with him.
Oh yeah, I think that's true.
Someone was talking about it, saying that it was a Lance Storm's fault that he's not on there yet or whatever. Lance Storm came out being like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, what, you're not even talking true facts right now. Like,
oh man,
it's so funny how the speculation on all that happens. But yeah, I like the kid. I think he'll be good. Like, I see that Humbrero kid or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
and I'm right away. I'm like, why isn't that just Dominic?
Yeah, exactly.
Why isn't that Mysterio's kid? Like, that would be his spot. But whatever.
It's exactly the same. Okay,
whatever. Bray Wyatt, Daniel Bryan. I enjoyed it because it's Daniel Bryan. I'm a little tired of Bray Wyatt. I'm a little tired of this. It was such a great thing, but I think certain little things have ruined it.
Yeah, they've ruined it in many ways. And you know, I think this idea where he only comes out to wrestle as the Fiend, but he does the Firefly Funhouse as his goofy self. I was like, he should come out and get his ass kicked as his goofy self.
Yeah. I want to see him in ring as him.
And just get obliterated.
Mm-hmm.
Because see, the problem now is that you've got this separation, and basically he's Finn Balor and the Demon.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, and if that's all it is, it's not a big change. It's nothing new. When he started doing it, it was something new. Nobody knew what was going to happen, and now he's had 2 matches that are pretty much exactly the same. I mean, ultimately,
I like how this was more of a match. This had a wrestling feel. It did go back and forth. Wasn't just an all-out 10 curb stomps and 10 chairs piled on him to get the will. You know what I mean? Just stupid like they did with him and Rollins. I enjoyed that they had a match, but I cannot take another match in red lighting. I just cannot do it. It's awful. It is so awful.
Very distracting.
I cannot handle it. Again, just let him. I mean, he had a great idea with this character. Now I feel like little things have kind of derailed it a little bit. Now they got on Smackdown, we're going to see a debut new Firefly Funhouse character, whatever the hell that's going to be. And there is those rumors too that Bray's going to get put with someone else. They keep saying Liv Morgan, somebody who's might come back and be involved with the Fiend. Who knows?
Yeah,
that'd be interesting. I don't know how I would feel about that one.
Well, yeah, it just seems so weird to me.
I mean, it's a good idea, and like you said, have him come out as Bray, as the guy on the show, like Laffy and whatever, and have him lose a couple matches, have him get beat up, get him get picked on a little bit, and then whatever. But I mean, right now it's just I don't know. I forget he's the champion too. I forget.
Well, that's just it.
And it's just like,
it's like the championship is hidden. It's like it doesn't mean anything, which is unbelievable to me because it's SmackDown.
Right. Yeah. I really enjoyed Bryan embracing the yes chant again on the pay-per-view, which I felt like you knew they weren't going to give him the belt though, because He had a run last year, so.
Oh yeah.
But it would have been a good moment. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it gets better for Bray Wyatt and his Fiend.
Yeah.
Hopefully it does. They had the men's elimination tag Survivor Series match as well happen.
Yeah, that's hard for me to watch when there's that many in there.
I know, man. That ring was looking mighty small. This was a lot of people. You had SmackDown had Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, Shorty G.
Yeah.
Shorty G. Hell yeah. Ali, hometown boy Ali. King Corbin, you had Team Raw with Rollins, of course, Randy Orton, Ricochet, Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, Team NXT, Tommaso Ciampa, Damian Priest, Matt Riddle, Keith Lee, and Walter, which Keith Lee, Tommaso Ciampa doing War Games the night before, and then this match. Holy shit. Like, that's
no kidding.
in 2 nights in a row.
No kidding.
Keith Lee definitely shining in this match.
Oh yeah.
Rumored to also have shined in the backstage. Sounds like a lot of people liking him.
Good.
I think he'll be a call up sooner than we think.
Yeah, I agree. He's well, you know what? He's got agility for his size that's unmatched, and I like the way that he stopped the idiot freight train, which is Braun Strowman, in his choo-choo around the ring. Honestly, Braun Strowman to me is just a gigantic cartoon character at this point.
Oh yeah, but we knew that was going to happen when he had how many title shots and never got it, never won.
Yeah, but I mean,
third title shot loss. You knew he was just going to be the gimmicky big guy. I think I said it like 2 months ago on here, didn't I? He's the next Big Show.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that. And it just gets worse and worse with time. Yeah. And they never see. The thing is, they can't completely commit to making him that guy, to making him that clown yet, because the only way that he loses is by count out. He never gets pinned. It's always a count out because, well, he got counted out. So he's big and strong and dumber and shit.
Yeah, hopefully they, and it's sad. It's sad to see because, I mean, he could have had a good title run.
Oh, my gosh,
yes. Would have been the guy that beat Brock, and people would have been like, yeah, that makes sense.
It would have been 100% believable.
Yeah, so, and, you never know down the line. Maybe they'll realize it, repackage, let him do his thing, and it could work into something. But, yeah, it's sad to see him just not getting to be used at his full potential, but you got a lot of people that are like, this was just a weird.
McIntyre too.
Yeah, McIntyre too. And I don't know what was going on Raw, why everybody all of a sudden decided to. Well, I feel like we're going to see Brock gone for a while now, which is why you had like 4 different people try to get a U.S. title shot on Raw on Monday. Mm-hmm. And big names, Mysterio, Orton, McIntyre, Ricochet, basically the Survivor Series team. Yeah, it was. I know. I love King Corbin.
Yeah, he is the best slimy heel that they've had in a long time.
So good. Just so good. Walter, huge pop. Keith Lee. Both nights that crowd was loud singing his Bask in His Glory. Ciampa looking tougher than ever after that injury. And I wish we'd have saw more out of Owens in that match.
Yeah, well, I mean, but they were busy to tell the story between Seth and him because that's going to happen sooner or later now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
With the Mr.
See that? That's they're building it too.
So that's Mr. NXT, and when we move to Raw and the big stupid coaching speech, it makes even more sense.
Yeah. SmackDown getting the win, by the way, Roman Reigns.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out strong. I really like Shorty G. I love that. It's hilarious. Like, I'm Shorty G. Like, how do you go from being so angry because you're short to all of a sudden you're just like, hey, man, my name's Shorty G,
I
yo.
embraced it.
What's up, man?
Hey, I used to be called Fat P.
I have to use the little urinal, Shorty G. The main event, Bailey, Becky Lynch, Shayna Baszler, a lot of hype.
A lot.
It would have been a really, really great match, and for some reason, it fell flat on its face.
Really disappointing, and I think part of it was because honestly, the men's elimination match was so good,
and it drained the crowd. Now, here's the thing too: when you're at a show, because if people are watching this and they're like, "Well, the crowd was just not into it," they weren't. But it wasn't that they weren't into it; they were probably exhausted from the match before.
Yeah,
because wasn't that the Mysterio Lesnar match?
No, they went right after the men's elimination.
Oh, did they? Okay, so yeah, the place was still going hot from that thing.
Yeah.
And you had a lot of big names in that match that, I remember when we were at Mania 28 when Hell in the Cell with Taker and Triple H happened. Michaels was the ref. The place was just electric when it was done. Everybody was like physically in their seats tired.
Yeah.
And the next match was the Team Johnny versus Team Teddy, basically Raw versus SmackDown, with the winner becoming the GM of both shows. And this is where, what's her name? Eve Torres actually turned on Zack Ryder and kicks him in the balls. Poor broski. Anyways.
But to be fair, and you have the big, and I will say this, the long drawn out fist bump of respect at the end of the men's elimination match, and everybody went nuts for Keith Lee. I would say Keith Lee was the reason that the women's match just was a letdown.
Yeah, and it's hard to come off those kind of moments. Like I said, when that match ended, the three were hugging up on each other on the stage, looking at the crowd, end of an era.
Yeah.
Like that next match, that team match, no reaction because everybody was just in their seats, just like, and it took another match after that before people were like starting to come back alive and ready for when Cena and Rock finally hit. If they would have put that match right after, Cena and Rock would have maybe not been as a big reaction because people would have still been like, oh my God, I just feel like 45 minutes of that match. And when you're there, you get really into it. So yeah, I can get it. But yeah, it was a good match, but I just felt like the three of them could have did I feel so much more.
And here's the other thing too. I feel like the three of them didn't have much chemistry. I feel like the three of them, I feel like Bailey was almost kind of tentative. I mean, it seemed like it.
Yeah, I feel like they were doing something weird with Bailey during this. I do feel like that she was pulled back more. I don't know if that's part of her heel persona now, but I the gimmick, I don't know. But it definitely seemed like that. I think a lot of people were hoping something was going to happen that was really going to get these women teams back together. I think, there's always the rumors of Ronda Rousey coming back. I just think that maybe the people were expecting a little bit more out of this, and it just didn't happen. It was just a match. And a very good match. Again, like I said, the three of them, and again, too, Shayna had her match before. Becky made her cut her promo about being on the road and not getting to be in the gyms and all this. It's a busy weekend, But, and that Survivor Series match just drained the crowd, too.
Oh, yeah.
But overall, though, it was a good Survivor Series.
I thought it was
Survivor Series weekend.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the shows. Raw happened. Let's see. Rusev gets arrested after he beats the crap out of Bob Lashley.
Mm-hmm.
It was much more tolerable this week because they didn't give Lana a microphone. Thank God.
And when she did speak, it made more sense. You know what I mean?
Stop. Yeah,
Bobby, my boyfriend. And I always and I will always and forever listen very closely when Rusev is kicking the hell out of Lashley when he goes, "Come on, Bob, get up." And it's never Bobby, it's always Bob. And that's the best. that's the best. Come on, Bob
Lashley. Yeah, I love it. And then I love that the moment where he like turns at her and he's like, "This is not about you." Just like I like it. I like where it's going. Well, okay, I take it back. It's just more tolerable again because they didn't let her talk. I think.
Yeah.
Who knows what they do in the next show? And it came out today too that she apparently signed like a 5-year deal with WWE, which it's like, what in the hell? But who knows? Maybe she's really pulling the wool over everybody's eyes, and like she's acting this bad purpose. Who knows? But I would like to see this starting to get closer to a payoff, and I think we're gonna get it because I think we're getting that match at TLC. I think it's one of the announced matches already. Is Rusev versus Bob Lashley? I should make a sign that says Bob Lashley.
Yeah, hell yeah. We're on TV side, baby. Well, we're in the corner, but we're on TV side, so get a great big huge one on a sheet.
It just takes up the whole row.
Bob Lashley.
Bob Lashley.
That's all it says.
Right. And then what? So that was like basically how they kind of got Raw going. What else happened on Raw?
Oh, we had
Town Hall, which at first it was like, this is stupid, but the fact that they're turning him heel slowly with this made it a little bit better. I'll tell you what, though, when he was all like, "Oh, you're stupid kid," I was like, oh, "Damn, man!"
Yeah,
call the kid, his kid stupid to his face.
Yeah, and all the reports are that initially when the crowd was chanting CM Punk, and he made that comment. See, that's a thing. It's still egomaniac Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
It's still. Oh my gosh, I just have to say what I have to say because everybody wants to hear me be clever.
Yeah.
And you can't even, it's just like, you know what, man, leave that shit alone and you're better off.
Well, and the rumor is Vince McMahon was furious. Furious that you said his name. Well, they say that Vince McMahon was furious because he doesn't like anything talked about on his shows. That's not possibly going to happen.
Yeah.
And this isn't going to happen. But
never say
never. Are slowly now reports coming out that they are entertaining it, and they're putting feelers out to Punk, and he's entertaining him, and knows that if it's going to happen, this is the time because, he can do a part-time short contract and be good for life because of the new TV deal and the Saudi money that they got, which isn't a bad idea, to be honest, for a guy who biggest complaint was having to be on the road constantly.
Yeah.
And he'd be able to do what he wants. So, and let's be honest, how believable is it that Vince McMahon had absolutely zero input on Punk being involved anything WWE, regardless if he's signed a contract with Fox?
I think that's absolutely insane to think that that's not the case.
So who knows? Rumble's coming up. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I will say this though: if CM Punk comes back and his comeback match, his first match back, is wasted on frickin' Seth Rollins, I would be a little sad because there's so many other guys I'd rather see him come back, like him and like Owens. That would be amazing. You know what I mean? Or like him and AJ Styles in a WWE.
Oh my gosh.
Or
even Brock.
Yeah. Oh, I would. Yeah, I'd love to see him and Brock, or him and Triple H, and it gets Triple H back in the ring. Because let's be honest, come Mania season, there's about a 90% chance we're gonna see him have a match.
Yeah.
So who knows? And then with every Mania and every year, it's always that. Oh, and here's the plans. We hope to have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson there, but you know what I mean? Yeah, whatever. Which that ends up leading to a match, Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, which then who came out? Didn't someone come out and interfere that match?
AOP.
Oh yeah, that's how the show. AOP comes out, finally getting TV time, finally had a match before this. and takes him out. Doesn't touch Rollins. Obviously, Rollins is known for having goons. He was the authority figure, you know what I mean? So, writing's on the wall there. Like,
Yeah.
say this, right? Like, Seth Rollins is joining, like, AOP is going to be like his henchman. And I like it. I like it because heel Rollins is the only good Rollins. So,
yep, I agree.
Give him some people because God knows I miss having Paul Ellering with those guys because I don't want to hear them talk anymore.
Mm-mm.
I just want to see them beat the shit out of people. They're huge, man. Yeah. And then, so no Becky, right? We didn't see Becky on her. And no mention of her and her losing
loss.
Town Hall.
So now here's one of the things, and I don't feel this. I mean, I know that just about everybody in the world is in love with Becky Lynch, and she's supposedly the most popular performer at this time on WWE. I am tired of her because she's got that same kind of arrogance, that undeserved arrogance that Seth has. And it's just, oh, I'm going to slap the head off of you. And it's like, well, okay.
Yeah.
That was fine coming up. That was fine climbing to the mountain. But now that you're on the mountain, you're acting like a punk.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. And I also feel like this whole idea of Baszler beating Bayley, pinning Bayley, tapping Bayley out, whatever. I think it was a tap out, right? And then Lynch attacking her afterwards. Why? I mean, sure, it builds to another match. It protects Becky from whatever she lost. So all it does is say, oh, I'm a big poor sport.
I think it is more underlining, setting up that still potential match of the four horsemen versus the four horsewomen. I think that's the only reason that happened. Your Becky is top of the roster for the women, so you got to make her look good. B, again, I think this is the only way because, if it was just trying to make her look tough, she'd take both of them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this leaves that door open where she made it look like she did it because she beat up Bayley, or not necessarily, but Bayley wasn't involved, so then they can easily get back together because Bayley's motive is she made me tap out. So I think that's really what that was all about. But
well, all I can tell you is I get this bad taste in my mouth with all of this protection of Becky.
Yeah, well, that's what they do with all their big top stars, and
it's true. It's true.
Well, sometimes it doesn't, but one thing that really, anyways, so that basically summed up Raw because I don't really remember what else happened. I kind of dozed off a little bit. I was sleepy.
I understand.
It's been a long week. I did go to a local show Saturday night before I watched War Games, though.
Oh, how was that?
One of those good old VFW shows.
Oh, nice.
It was entertaining. Cool little indie show, cheap $10 entertainment. Minutes. It was in a room where the ring, you got on the top rope and you were pushing through ceiling.
Nice.
So it was nice. Yeah, it was entertaining though. So that was always fun.
How many matches they have? You remember?
It's like 5.
Oh,
but like the same faction was in like 3 or 4.
Well, when your faction runs the promotion, they're going to be in everything.
Yeah, man. But it was
they learned from Vern Gagne.
Right.
We're going to be in everything, and shut up.
I'm the face. I win. What's it called? I win.
It's my money, so I win.
And then before we get to our 1990s Survivor Series, which was definitely a blast from the past.
Yeah.
Let's do pops and drops.
Well, before we do that, let's real quick. Just going to mention that I did watch NWA Power this evening, and there is absolutely zero sign of Jim Cornette. I mean, they erased every visible trace of him. Now, I don't know if they did that with the other previous shows, but it was it had a very different feel to it, because Joe Galley is the only one talking, and he's up against a backdrop, in the case of where it would have been he talking with Cornette. So they clearly went in, reshot those segments so that he could do it, and it almost made it look like he was doing a studio highlight show. So my initial reaction is boo, because it changes the feel of it so much. I hope
they're gonna replace him.
Oh, I know they will. I'm just saying that in this case, it was like, ow, this hurts. This is not as good as it was last week. But having said that, the matches, the stories are okay, and they do a real neat deal where they follow Thunder Rosa on her first match, her first MMA match. And it's just kind of a cool deal. I'm all in on NWA Power. Again, it's only an hour, and today I think it was 48 minutes. So it's a nice, easily digestible, really cool chunk of entertainment for me, and I will give that a big old thumbs up and recommendation.
I will too, as soon as they let Wes have his shot at the title.
Well, I hope he's getting in contact with him. They did a promo about Billy Corgan did a promo about the circled square or whatever the hell they called that, and so I'm looking forward to seeing that, and I want to see Wes on it.
Yeah, they're scared. They're scared.
Well, what?
They're scared. They don't want him in there. They know Nickel is. That's all.
They want him in there.
They know. Aldous doesn't want none of that. Anyways.
All right, baby. Here we go. And it's time for pops and drops of the week. Boy, oh boy. I'll tell you, my first pop, not my number one pop, but my first pop is Asuka just using the green mist on Charlotte. Even though the match was a little bit clunky, the fact that she used the green mist on her not once but twice gives me indication that they're going to have a big match somewhere along the line. I wish it was for some type of a title, but it's not going to be. But anyway, that is my pop number one for this week.
Well, I feel like they're going to bring someone in to be with Charlotte, and I feel like we're going to see a possible tag run because they have to with Kari. You know,
well,
I feel like Charlotte's going to get a partner, and I feel like she's going to get a shot. And to be honest, wouldn't be a surprise if they put the tag title on her for a little while. But yeah, that'll be fun. Dude, she really did miss the shit out of her though. She got her good.
On Monday, on Monday, it's like she took a can of Krylon and sprayed it in her face.
Yeah, it was bad.
Jumping catfish.
My first pop and my number one pop of the weekend for me was Dakota Kai turning. I'm a big Dakota Kai fan from the beginning. I've always liked her. And I just thought that was like a brilliant thing because it was truly nothing no one saw coming. You really didn't. I mean, I guess I haven't watched the last couple episodes and I didn't watch that lead up, but like overall, Dakota Kai was always that just real baby face for them. You know what I mean? Smiles, comes out, team kick. Yay. I'll fight Shayna Baszler 5 times and lose every time, but I won't give up. But like, and I liked her then. I've always liked Dakota Kai, and I just thought that was a really great way to have her do a heel turn. I like that it's probably going to come out she's the one that took Mia Yim out because someone made a crack, I guess, on the NXT. I guess that I didn't watch it where she wasn't good enough to be on the team. Right? Okay, yes. So she ends up taking out Mia Yim. Allegedly, that's what I'm going to say. And then you know her time comes to go into that match at War Games. She walks out, the crowd's popping for her, and wham, just goes after those knees of Tegan Nox, which has been so documented that those are legitimately injured knees, have been, like, that's, yeah, it was a great moment. I was really liking it.
All right, my number 2 pop this week is the awesome Keith Lee, and really his coming out party this whole weekend. Nothing specifically, but just the fact that a guy that looks like that makes me feel like, hey, back in my heyday, I could have done that maybe. But holy cow, just so happy to see him get that recognition, because it's just fantastic to see a big guy, a huge guy, hop around like he should be on 205 Live.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that guy made his name this weekend. So again, I think he'll be pulled up before we know it. So what are we doing? 2 or 3 pops?
Oh, 2, 3 if you got 3.
Well,
I came up with 2. You don't have to come up with 2. Don't kill yourself.
I have 3 though.
Well, then do 3.
Well,
I only got 2.
I'll do 2. Kevin Owens isn't it, but that was huge.
Yeah,
huge, and that whole War Games match was just awesome. I think my second pop will be on Dynamite. I like Scorpio Sky getting a title shot at Le Champion.
Absolutely.
In AEW. I think Scorpio Sky is a guy that you could make a top guy and build around.
I agree.
Will they do it? I don't know. I think Jericho's hot. I think the Le Champion gimmick is hot. They're selling lots of t-shirts, lots of merch.
They are.
Honestly, I don't see the title leaving Jericho anytime soon, but it's good to see a guy like Scorpio Sky get that nod early on to know he's going to be a future champ for AEW and a future top guy. So that's awesome, because he definitely deserves that.
Okay, drops of the week. The only drop I really have, and it's not really but it's just the idea that WWE manufactured the whole Survivor Series to simply put NXT over, and they were already over on their own, but they got them over with the 50 plus demographic, and that to me is like, yeah, come on, man. And just and I'll couple that with the fact that there's getting to be a lot of pettiness between the two of them. I'm not going to say one versus the other, but the pettiness is not needed. As wrestling fans that like all of the product, I think to a certain degree, it's like, oh, because you feel like you're an insider when you get it, but ultimately it's just being petty for the sake of it. So I would give that a big drop today.
Yeah. Did you see that they're trying to stop the Bash at the Beach stuff?
Yep.
Even though it's trademarked by Cody.
That's part of my pettiness. That's part of the pettiness.
So my first drop, really my biggest drop, I don't even know if I'll talk about anything else after this, but the whole Corey Graves and Mauro Ranallo situation going on Twitter. If you don't know, obviously War Games is a very high spot. You're going to see a lot of action. Mauro Ranallo is a very excitable announcer guy. It's why people love him. And honestly, watching that show, it never occurred to me that it was like, it's a little much. Or no, like I was just blown away the whole show. So for the Corey Graves to tweet out whatever he tweeted out that night about how, what is it? Oh, there's a Hall of Famer, guys. There's also a Hall of Famer and a Ring of Honor World Champion on the announce booth tonight, but you would never know it watching it. Something to that effect, basically implying that Mauro was running over everybody. Also, given the whole knowing his background, Marlo's background, and his personal stuff, like he doesn't take well to that, and like it can set him off, all that kind of deal. And then on top of that, like when Metzler was talking about it, like him and Metzler, Corey Graves and Metzler were getting into it. Dave Metzler the last day or two because of it, claiming all this stuff. But my biggest thing is you can criticize the guy all you want, but first of all, y'all work for WWE, so why are you bagging on the dude?
Yeah.
Second of all, he's been there for how long? Like, it's not like he's brand new. So why are you acting like you've never heard him do commentary? Because nothing seemed out of the ordinary watching War Games as far as the commentary team.
Mm-mm.
Like, nothing stood out to me as far as being like, it's too much. He needs to pull back. He's talking all. No, that is a solid. Those Beth Phoenix, Nigel McGuinness, and Mauro Ranella is a solid booth.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And they make it work really good. To be honest, they make it work. And it kills me to say this because I'm a Renee Young fan. Make it work way better than Michael Cole, Corey Graves, and Renee Young made Raw work.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I agree.
Now knowing Renee Young wasn't even really that into it, which is why she ain't doing it now.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And then again, I think maybe a little bit of jealousy because, sorry, but nobody's chanting any of your catchphrases there, Corey Graves. But if a big
here's his catchphrase.
Yeah. And then
Hands, buddy.
how many times during War Games did we hear Mamma Mia being chanted?
Yeah. It's just, I agree. It's jealousy. There's a bit of bullying there. And let's be honest. I mean, with the whole situation with Corey Graves, I don't know him certainly, but it doesn't seem like he's that nice a person.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the man personally either, so I can't, cast any judgment on it. Going off what people have talked about who have interacted with him and stuff, like one of the things people said is he's a guy who, and some of the things he was tweeting at Dave Metzler gives this away, that he's a guy that doesn't like to air his stuff out online. He'd rather talk his problems out with whoever he has a problem with face to face and then talk it out, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and he was saying stuff like that to Dave Metzler, where he's like, oh,
call me,
find my number. You can find my number. And it's like, and Dave even said, he's like, weird, because all this started with you going online.
Yeah.
Chirping out about someone else. Like, why didn't you just go to him and say, hey, I thought you were a bit heavy. Why'd you broadcast it to the world?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that just really, because I liked Graves too. I liked Graves on commentary. I thought he was strong. Towards the end, it was getting to be like, but he was also on how many damn shows he was doing their show.
Yeah.
Week. He was doing a lot of the internet stuff. So, I mean, it was a little bit of just too much, but like, man, that when all that stuff came out, man, that was sad. I'm still sad, man. I hope Mauro is on NXT this Wednesday. All signs point to he will be. He did delete his Twitter.
Yeah.
But, and it sounds like it didn't go well backstage. Like, it wasn't taken well by the company.
It wasn't.
So that would be my big drop. That, and the other drop I had was that Kylie Ray finally talked, but didn't really say anything.
Yeah.
Like, basically said she left on her own. No one forced her out, but then like kind of really briefly alluded to bad times or something, but then still no real explanation of what happened. So, but it sounds like a lot of people are really running with the Brandy bullied her out. But
well, who knows? Who knows?
Sometimes people just aren't meant to work with a certain company.
Yeah, I watched AEW Dark before he came on, and Brandy and Awesome Kong took a chunk of hair from Leva Bates.
I watched the last Being Elite that came out.
Yeah,
and apparently the Inner Circle kidnapped her. Like, is that legal?
That's what I was wondering. What about her?
What about her?
Huh?
Like, for what? What are we gonna do to her? Like,
I know. Well, we're gonna make her read books to us because it's a PG sort of show.
This seems like we're gonna go to prison.
Well, mm-hmm. Anyway, all right. So that's our week, and now you're gonna love this because I have a new intro for our old school review. Right from the VCR, baby.
I love it.
And
love it.
And this week we talk about the WWF, because when they're old, I talk about them the way they were. Survivor Series from 1990, and there were a lot of weird things in this program. It was enjoyable. There were a lot of names that I hadn't seen in so long, and to be honest, sort of forgot about. We had a huge debut for a future Hall of Famer in that match. And we talked last week about how well, there's some other guys in there. What is it? Another team. Didn't realize that all the survivors of each match came in for a grand finale. And that to me is just ridiculous.
Right?
But having said that, in 1990, they were not doing any of the things that they do today. There were a lot of heavy-handed forearms. There were a lot of drop kicks. There were a lot of elbows to guys on the ground, and a lot of big splashes.
Yeah, not a lot of high flying. Not a lot of mat wrestling. More just
nope.
Yeah. Now, before we get to the matches, just the feel of the show. It was from Hartford, Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
It was on Thanksgiving,
Yes.
1990. Correct me if I'm wrong. My memory is, not the best. I was not the oldest at that time, 1990. I think I was like 8. Desert Storm?
Yes.
Literally,
and in fact,
just kicked off.
In fact, it was going to be within, if I remember correctly, within days or weeks that the actual operation was going to take place. So there was a lot of patriotism that was being displayed.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Sergeant Slaughter at that point was a heel and was sympathizing with the Iraqis.
Oh man. So
which, we could never have that today.
Right. And another really great thing, 1990, the feel in this crowd watching this show, kayfabe was still kind of alive.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Which made this so much more enjoyable. Man, were these older shows great when in the 80s and 90s. There's some real great shows. Man, yeah, it was a good crowd. We had Roddy Piper and Gorilla Monsoon on
the broadcast. Oh my gosh. And they did a great job, I thought.
I love that Piper just says some off the wall shit that makes no sense.
Absolutely.
Like what?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it though. But yeah, Piper's always going to be the guy that like one of those legends that I always wanted to meet and never got a chance to. So that's, but yeah, so great. You got Mean Gene and Sean Mooney doing backstage interviews and all that good jazz. Yeah, it was cool. It was a good show. First match, dark match. So this was not on the show, but we'll say it anyway. Shane Douglas defeated Buddy Rose. Douglas, who never really got that big run in WWF, definitely made a name for himself in ECW though.
Yep. And went down to WCW for a while. Yeah, and of course, Playboy Buddy Rose with the infamous cocaine commercial. How'd you lose all that weight? Cocaine.
Just telling it like it is. So first actual match on this. Oh man, that's great. We had the Warriors, which was Animal Hawk, Texas Tornado, Ultimate Warrior, defeating the Perfect Team, X, Crush, Mr. Perfect, and Smash with Bobby Heenan, Mr. Fuji at ringside. Bobby Heenan, a legend. Anytime he was on the screen during this show, I couldn't help but watch all his interactions when he's climbing on the ropes.
Oh,
the one punch and just goes hopping over and onto the floor. There was no one better. There will never be anyone better. And it's sad that they don't even really have managers anymore when you look at it. And it's so sad because people like Bobby, man, I mean, put so many guys over that it's such a great tool they should be using, and they're not.
Well, let's be honest. There were in this Survivor Series pay-per-view, we had how many sidemen?
Oh man,
you had Brother Love, you had Jimmy Hart, you had Virgil, you had Bobby Heenan and Mr. Fuji.
Yeah.
General Adnan. I mean, it in Slick. Slick got his head knocked off by at the end by Hogan and the Warrior too, as I recall.
Yep. Keep in mind, as going through these matches, like the Masked Man said, the winners all come back for the main event for the true Survivor Series match. So
it's crazy.
And it's like only the survivors, not the winners. Sorry, only the survivors. So, you know, if the Team Warriors won and it was Team Warriors won and it was Warrior, and it was only Warrior.
It was only the Ultimate Warrior that was left out of that one.
Yes, it was the only one that came back at the end. So yeah, Warriors defeat those guys. Axe Crush. I loved Demolition. Really did. Yeah, and Animal and Hawk, man, that was awesome too. The Road Warriors. Next match, you had the $1 Million Dream Team, which had the Greg the Hammer Valentine, Ted DiBiase, some piece of shit, and then debut of the Undertaker.
Oh my gosh!
Jimmy Hart and Virgil were out there, and they beat the Dream Team, baby. The Dream Team. Bret Hart, Dusty Rhodes, Coco Beware, and Jim Neidhart. Yeah, those guys got beat up.
And I got to tell you, when they had the Undertaker come out, they the very first time they don't quite have the music knocked, but you can tell because in hindsight, it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of close to what his theme's going to become.
Yeah, oh definitely. Yeah. I remember when I watched it, I was like, this isn't the one.
Not exactly the right one.
Which it was really cool to watch this because I watched it yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And on Sunday, I did watch that Austin Broken Skull Ranch.
That was cool, wasn't it?
Which was super cool. Watch it if you haven't.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to hear him talk about this debut and how he thought he was going to be like Eggman and he was going to be the one hopping out of the egg and then all this stuff. You got to watch it. It was really cool. One of the only times you see Undertaker be, the man, Mark Calloway, not the gimmick. So it was really cool. Yeah, so that was awesome.
And it was awesome to see him because they started the match with him and he was kicking ass.
Oh, yeah.
And as we talked about with Braun Strowman being put out of the match, he was also put out of the match by disqualification.
Yeah.
Because at that time they wanted to protect his mystique. Mm-hmm. And holy cow, was Piper putting him over like he was the biggest oak tree he'd ever seen.
Oh yeah, and he was though when he came out. He was for that era, and on top of that, like it was a scary gimmick for that time, man. People in the crowd were taken back. I remember as a little kid watching this. Again, I was probably 7 or 8, and being like, "Oh, who's that guy? He's scary."
Yeah,
I like that guy.
I remember one of the statements that Piper made was, "Is he going to fight with all that gear on?"
I
don't know. I never saw him before.
So that was really cool. And again, it was Honky Tonk Man. That's who the piece of shit was. In case you really didn't know.
Well, to be fair, the Honky Tonk Man was axed out of there pretty easy.
Well, it's because he sucks.
Yeah.
And next was the Visionaries, which was Hercules, Paul, Roma, Ricky the Model Martel, and the Wardlord. Which the Wardlord didn't seem like a visionary to me, but
the Warlord. No, here's the thing. I remember the Warlord. I don't remember thinking much of him because it's like, well, this guy's just. I mean, he has a huge body and a tiny head.
Yeah, and the character and gimmick ended up being like the Repo Man. He wasn't really there long.
Yeah.
Never got any big runs. And they were against the Vipers, which is Jake Roberts, Jimmy Snuka, Marty Jannetty, and Shawn Michaels, the Brockers. I will admit that I fell asleep during this match.
All right, so you may remember this though. The look of Jake, who apparently had something blown into his eye, because apparently there was a backstory with Rick Martel, who was at that point Rick the Model Martel, had a spray bottle. Apparently, sprayed it into Jake the Snake's eye, and one of his eyes was clouded over. He had a cloudy contact lens in one of his eyes.
You know what's funny is I don't even remember this from rewatching it. I remember this watching it when I was a kid.
Yeah. And the other thing was that Snuka looked just like he had been fallen out of the insane tree and hit every branch on the way.
Yeah, he looked way strung out. This must have been murder time.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
What was that? Do you remember what year was it that his girlfriend went missing?
I don't recall without looking.
Either way, he looked way strung out. But anyways, the Visionaries defeat them. I, as a kid, hated him, but really respected Rick the Model Martel.
I always liked Rick Martel, even when he was a heel, even as the model. There was just something about him that I liked.
Yeah.
The other guys on his heel, like Paul Roma, I mean, he's kind of a perpetual mid-carder, as I recall. Hercules Hernandez, while he looked great, just never really turned into anything much. But they all went through because they were all still left, I guess.
Yeah, that whole team that was the only team because they had incentives from the $1 Million Man. The next match was the Hulkamaniacs, which was obviously Hulk Hogan, Big Boss Man, Jim Duggan, and Tugboat. A whole lot of weight on the ring during this match.
Oh my God, yes.
Against the Natural Disasters, which was the Barbarians, Dino Bravo, and Earthquake and Haku. Heenan out there in Hart. This was like the thick of the Heenan family too, by the way.
Oh yeah.
This was the good times. Hulkamaniacs win, obviously. Hogan being the only one to survive. Man, that was just a lot of meat in that ring, man.
Oh God, yeah. And as I recall, that match seemed to take forever.
It did, but that's just it though. Your top star big guys back then were just big guys, and Hogan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you weren't seeing Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels really getting to that top yet, or Bret Hart getting to the top yet, who can actually get in there and do some shit.
Yep.
Anyways, so Hogan wins after them. Next, you have the Alliance, which was Butch and Luke, the Bushwhackers, Nikolai Volkov, and Tito Santana, one of my favorites as I was a little boy, against the Mercenaries, Boris Zukov, Sergeant Slaughter, Sato, and Tanaka, with Mr. Fuji and General Adnan. Now, before we get to the actual match, let's get to the promo that was cut while the other team was in the ring. You talk about Slaughter on the mic?
Slaughter on the mic was absolutely insane. It was insane. It was horrible.
Slaughter, you're the man.
As I recall, he repeated himself numerous times, and clearly now. And I'm going to just picking on him. I'm picking on him because of it's indicative of the entire promos that were done. They were all bad.
They were, but you know what I noticed though? When you got a good one, it really did stand out back then though. Yeah. So like DiBiase was always money on the mic.
Right.
So like when he did his promo that night about Taker, like I was in it. I was like, yeah, all right. And then like Slaughter comes on. It's just like at a certain point, I was just like, why is he still talking? Like, why are we not done yet?
Because back then they didn't and
Warrior, obviously, Warrior's promo was freaking insane as well.
And to be honest, Hogan, the Hogan team one was pretty awful.
Yeah.
And in some cases, the lead did the promo and nobody else. But in some cases, the lead did a little bit, and then they all went all around. And the ones that went all around were absolutely 100% worse than when the lead just did it.
And you can tell when it wasn't going good because Mean Gene would be like really quick with that mic.
Yep.
But yeah, so that was excuse me, the Alliance ends up winning. Tito Santana, the sole survivor. So now you've got
you got three super faces.
Yep, three big baby faces and a bunch of heels. You've got Hogan, Tito Santana, Warrior going against Hercules, Paul Roma, the Model Martel, Ted DiBiase, and the Wardlow with Virgil and Slick. But before all this madness can happen, the greatest thing to ever happen in the world of sports entertainment in WWE history happened before this match.
Oh my God. And
I love that, like, by the way, it's the stupid egg, everybody. But I love how they built the egg. Like, I don't know, could be a dinosaur, could be a dog, could be a kitty cat, could be a bear. I don't know, it could be a freaking lamb. Like, they just threw nonsense out when they were speculating. So why was everybody so mad? Because I feel like if it was out, people would have still been like, "It's a guy in a bear outfit."
Here's the thing: do you recall how long?
I know.
They strung this thing out.
That was the mistake.
And because I'll be honest with you, I knew a guy at a radio station up in Duluth that did this with the zoo up there. Same thing. Had a deal where somebody found an egg down on the shore of Lake Superior, took it to the zoo, and the zoo was in on it. They put this great big huge fake egg in the zoo. In essence, it was the gobbledygooker. CNN had done a story about it because it had gotten that out of hand.
Yeah.
And then the big reveal was the station mascot, which was a penguin.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
that probably would have went over better than the gobbledygooker.
Nothing would have. No. I mean, the gobbledygooker.
It literally needed to be Hogan or the Warrior coming out with like a turkey for people to pop on that. Like,
yeah,
that was such a setup for failure. Like you said, I remember as a little kid being like, I can't wait to see what's in the egg. And you're right, because they built it up for so freaking long, which was a big mistake. But yeah, this will always go down in WWE/F history as one of the biggest just letdowns ever.
One of the biggest screw ups of all time. And there aren't that many, to be honest, that are this bad.
Long. I did not need to watch Mean Gene dance for that long.
Well, that's part of the reason it was such a pile of crap too. And then to hear Monsoon and Piper try to sell the whole thing. The kids are loving it. No, they're not.
They weren't sure at first, but he's won their hearts over. It's like,
no. It's like, shut up.
No, they didn't. Yeah. So it was, dude. That was a good. It was a good era. This is right in the thick of me being a wrestling fan, still still probably buying into the kayfabe for the most part. No, I think kayfabe broke for me when Hogan lost to the Warrior. But this is not far after that. So I was still, this is in my early prime of being a wrestling fan. I started watching when I was like 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
This is 4 or 5 years into being a wrestling fan. So I remember watching this and just being blown away just by all of it. I remember Taker and that making an impact on me at that day.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh man, I'm never going to forget this guy. And sure enough, never did forget that guy. And he's gone down to be one of the greatest of all time. And I got to meet him. So I will always consider it a lucky deal. So, yeah, man, it was a really good watch. It was fun to watch it back, except for that one match where I took a little bit of a cat nap. I was a little tired.
let's be honest. Some of the action in some of those matches was a little bit ham hockey,
Mhm.
you know. And like you said, it's a bunch of big guys slamming into each other, and I mean, at a certain point, it all becomes the same.
It does, but if you were watching it live in that era, that's what wrestling kind of was then.
That's true.
So that's why it wasn't like now. Yeah, you couldn't have that kind of pay-per-view with these kind of matches and it survives. You need these great big spots. Back then, you just needed some spots here and there. Really good playing with the crowd. And just, again, this is the golden age of baby faces and heels. You got your good and your bad. So the good's going to be the favor. The bad heels are going to be bad. Like, this is what it was in the 90s.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Because if you listen, if you do go back and watch this and listen to the crowd are into it way more than I am as I'm watching it.
Yeah,
the crowd are into every little move, every punch, every slap, everything. They're into everything. They react the way they should, and clearly they're all on board with it. And I'm not trying to say. I'm just saying, for me now to watch it.
Well, but I mean, you're talking about because that's the era of Hogan slamming Andre, and that was the biggest thing that ever happened in the world. Where for now, to people be impressed, Hogan would have to be like do a freaking back spring like pile driver to Andre off the top rope to be able to have people be like, and then the ring has to implode when they land for people to really be like, all right, that was good. You know what I mean? Like, it is definitely a different product now, but for what this was at the time, it was a great show. Yeah, definitely that ain't what wrestling is now, but man, it just brought me back. So I really enjoyed this one.
And I would say on a scale of 1 to 5, I would definitely give this a 3.5. Only because it was 100% gimmick pay-per-view. There were no titles, there were no anything. It was just team against team. And so for that reason, I back it down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3.8. That's kind of the part I miss about Survivor Series. Because again, looking at these teams, though, they're named after their captains. Warriors, perfect team, because Warrior was feuding with Perfect at the time. You know what I mean? The $1 Million Team, all these guys, Hulkamaniacs that had that whole storyline with Tugboat and Earthquake or whatever. Like, I liked how there were little storylines that just got like a bigger match, where now like this year was about the brands. Storylines didn't really matter the week of during these big shows. And now, now it will again because it's over, but it was just about the brand and who's going to win. So I kind of miss it like this, but yeah, man, that was fun.
It was. All right. So what should we look at next week? We should look at something. Well, we got a TLC coming up in 3 weeks.
We do.
Let's save that. Let's save that for that week. Let's watch. Do you think we can find TNA somewhere on YouTube?
That I don't know.
All right.
That I do not know. We can look into that. I'd say let's
Oh, here's one for you. How about if we do Road Wild from WCW in about 1996 or 97? See if you can find that Road Wild, because I know that that's the one that they did out in Sturgis.
Yeah, is this now? They did a couple out there, so is this going to be? Let me look real quick. Is this going to be the one where we get to see the infamous Jay Leno match?
That's the one I'm thinking about.
All right. Yeah.
because there's, aside from Jay Leno, there's another infamous match.
Yeah. Oh, the Carl Malone, if I'm correct.
Well, yeah, Karl Malone, Jay Leno, and then there's also, as I recall, a hay truck match, a match in a moving hay truck, which I believe was
with Dustin,
and I can't remember who he was. Might have been Bagwell, but probably not, because Bagwell was not as chancy as that, I don't think. But I believe that was 1996, because they hopped into that real quick, because it was just as the NWO was taken off. They were involved, but not too much yet. And yes, that's when Bischoff started bringing in the celebrity wrestlers.
Yeah. I'm not seeing on the match. Hang on a second.
And it might be 97 then. But
so anyways, here 96. I'm just not seeing the match with the behavioral match.
Oh, okay.
With that, but the main event for 96, which is this right? There's like 15 matches.
Yeah.
Hogan, or not Hogan, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. No, that's not it either. Sorry, this isn't. What am I looking at?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Oh, okay. 1998.
98?
I know.
All right. Then that is the one we will do.
Jay Leno, Diamond Dallas Page with Kevin Eubanks, because that matters.
Oh, yeah.
Hogan, Bischoff. Yeah. Oh, and a Travis Tritt mini concert after. Score.
Now we're talking.
Didn't we know a guy who drew on that guy's bus?
Yes, we do.
Oh, good times. All right. Road Wild 1998 WCW. We'll bring it to you next week.
And if you want to watch Road Wild 98 and make comments along with us next week, we would love to have you do that. Other than that, my friend, anything cooking this week for you?
No, man. Sounds like more snow this weekend, too. So a whole lot of nothing. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving. If you're down in the Platteville, Wisconsin area, I'll be down there on Saturday night with my opening act, Ben Marcotte, at the Arthur House Supper Club just outside of Platteville, Wisconsin. I believe the show is at 8 o'clock. So if you're in that neck of the woods, we'd love to see you. Other than that, happy Thanksgiving, Big Ace. Great show as always. Enjoyed the time. And we will see you next week, folks, on the Mass Comedian X-Cast.